Hi, I've been meaning to make a video on the subject that I'm going to make a video on for a while, but then there were too many hurdles. It almost felt like a hurdle race. The good part of it is the more challenging it gets, the more thrilling it gets. So I can do with less thrill because it can get tiring. There were too many technical issues with gadgets, and there's so much repair at other in other aspects of existence, and they're still on. They're still there. There is a heap of things that are still there to be repaired, and there are things that have been hopefully repaired. So coming back to the point that I wanted to make through this video, I hope it doesn't get very long because m- because it can get long. It starts with cosmology, and when you study cosmology, you can get things can get very lonely because there are no traces of life anywhere else. So I don't know what others feel, but whenever I have tried to study more and more about cosmos, about space, it makes me feel. It doesn't make me feel very happy in the beginning, and then by the time it gets to the end, when things start taking shape, that's when I start feeling the joy. And that's what happens with all things. When they start, they look okay, but when they're in the middle of things, when we are in the mid of the process, things look so ugly, and you almost feel that they are never going to finish. But when they start taking shape because you're persistent, then that's a joy of different level. So yeah, getting back to the point, um, let's start with simple geometry because that's how things begin. In fact, the philosophers of ancient times said, teach young kids arithmetic and geometry. These two subjects should be the first ones to be taught to the young ones, the little ones, because that's how they're going to learn about justice. One line bigger than the other? No, no. Everything on the same on the same level, fine. Things are symmetrical, fine. This is how they will learn. All right, so this is a two-dimensional circle. We all know about it. And then this is sphere, three-dimensional. When the circle turns into three-dimension, um, okay, three-dimension, it becomes a sphere. And when that sphere rotates around an axis, it becomes a torus. You may have heard this word very often. When I heard it, I thought I was a buffoon because I didn't know about this. But then a little bit of reading and things got clearer, and I think all those people who will come around we know that how easy this concept is. Torus, when a sphere moves around about an axis and it's rotating. And have you ever thought why is the center part of the sphere or a torus is the most bulged? Because since this axis is rotating, there is more centrifugal force here in the center. So all the matter is thrown out. And when a living entity dies, there is more centripetal force. Pit. So force towards the center. So things get shrink because the outside force is higher. Okay. So when a particular shape is to be maintained, there has to be some kind of an equilibrium between centripetal and centrifugal force. So that's how things look plump when they're at the peak of their life. And when the energy or the rotation, it starts slowing down, that's when things get wrinkly. Anyway, so this is a torus are of three types: ringed torus, just like a donut. So that when it is a ringed torus, the the axis is in the center. Is it visible? It may not be visible. It's in the center, like this is one inner circle, this is outer circle. The axis, what is axis? Things around which the whole system is moving, is in the center. And the field, the magnetic field is in, that's how it encirculates, it encapsulates the whole structure. Hmm? And why is there a magnetic field? We already know. If we don't, there's not much to it. Whenever there is movement, there has to be magnetic field. Just imagine a wave or flowing river, how it takes along with it a lot of mud that is around the banks of the river, or a big huge wave will take with itself a lot of sand that is on the beach. All right, so this is ringed torus, and this is horn torus, where what happens, you don't, it's just a circle, and this there is an axis which is, or which almost resembles like a funnel, just like how we've seen tornadoes. They look like funnels. And how we see, we haven't quite experienced, god forbid we don't, this black hole thing that we keep studying. So this is the point of extreme activity, where it is a point, just a point, event horizon, where everything that enters through this portion gets broken down, disintegrates completely, and then it flows towards the northern sorry, the southern side. And that's how new things are born. And why is this funnel shaped thing? Whenever there is a difference in the pressure or intensity, a funnel is formed, because things are moving, and that's how they move. They just don't go linear, they move like this. Anything, everything in this universe is circulating. Have you made, you may have made tea or coffee. So what happens when you put tea leaves, and since there is heat, you've put it on flame, the leaves start circulating, because there is energy in universe. Things are just circulating, be it your solar system or your galaxies. Everything is circulating so slow, but it is circulating. All right, so this is it. Then there is spindle torus, where you have a spindle in the center instead of an axis. Hmm? Got it? So not very hard. That's what people, these group of intelligent people talk about. Taurus energy. This hurts, that hurts. This is what it is. A a sphere that has an axis around which it moves. Now, you all know, because we've studied in our primary classes, that earth, which is a torus because it has an axis, you know it, 23 degrees half. It's, what is 23 degree and a half? It's not straight. This axis is not cutting the sphere into equal halves, and it is not completely uh, it's not straight, it is tilted. And and if you put a compass here, compass or d here, you'll see that it is tilted, and the degree is 23 and a half, actually 23.4. So this, that is our axis. And why is there magnetic field? Why do we call earth a magnet? Because there is circulation inside also. Not just that it outside in the orbit it is circulating, that will contribute to the centripetal force, once things that will push things towards the center, gravitational force. We are stuck on the crust of earth, and we are not flying around in the universe, because something is there pushing us towards the center or the pit, and that's gravitational force for you. Things that are throwing us out is centrifugal force. So there has to be some kind of a circulation inside also, and that circulation is caused by the molten lava. Molten lava is in the outer core, and it's pretty much like how we are made. Any living being is made, and we have, this is our core, the the spinal, the axis is spinal cord, and that's And the blood that's circulating is what is responsible for the magnetic field. There is movement. Whenever there is movement, there's attraction. And what's causing that attraction in any mass? That's the movement, that's the circulation inside. So it's all physics. So when things are, we've spoken about, in my last video I had spoken about, or I don't know which video, one of the videos I'd spoken about how we are closer to Earth's crust. So the chakras or the vortices or the glands that are here on the in the lower portion, they are much more active. And then they say that humans just like to do whatever. It's not they are just concerns about ambition or survival or reproduction. Not just reproduction, um, lust, the perverted form of expansion. If it is just sacral chakra is responsible for expansion, and that expansion could be anything. So if it's not just that, since we are so close to earth, it's the magnetic field of the earth is n times more than the magnetic field of the higher realm. It is so many light years away. So all we have to do, we have to try extra hard to activate the vortices or the glands in the head that will give us the intellect, the wisdom, the clarity, the astuteness to wade our way through. So the natural course of things, if this is entrapment, we are close to earth, so our lower chakras are active. And there are more chakras here also that I'll talk about in a while. So what happens? See, I forgot what. Give me a moment. Yes. So it's but then there is a hack, and the hack is the what we talk about usually, Kundalini. So there is nadi system. Nadi is nadi. Nadi is river. River is pathway. So there are two pathways. There is warm river in form of uh, i- there is one of just give me Pingla nadi, the solar conduit. This one it is. And there is lunar, the colder one, the cooler one. They're both rotating in different directions. One is clockwise, the other is anti-clockwise. So what happens, if you are a physics student may have studied that if two things in opposite that they are counter in rotation, what happens? What does it facilitate? It facilitates levitation. It facilitates movement towards north. So if the negative or the disadvantage that we as spiritual beings have is that we are naturally inclined to have our lower chakras being more active. God has, or the creator has given us the hack, the trick to get out of that rigmarole by giving us the kundalini shakti, or the energy, the latent energy that can move up. And how will it move up? If you concentrate here, if you make deliberate efforts, because when the potential difference is more, another physics bit, the flow of current is high. So since there are counter rotation, levitation is facilitated because lot of drags are cancelled, torque and geo something, and there's so many of it. If you study about how helicopters fly, you'll know there's so many drags that can push things down, but it's only because they have counter rotation of fans. There are two fans back to back, one moving clockwise, one moving anti-clockwise, and that's why it flies up. Okay, so one bit is finished. It's sounding technical, right? But it has to initially. Second thing, I was mesmerized. Give me a moment. I was mesmerized by how number 7 is so mesmerizing. I mean, it is so. I didn't know about all this. I really thought that numerology, number 7, number 1, number 2, all numbers are great. That yes, they are. But this is something else that wanted to talk about. Have you heard of Vesica Pisces? When I heard about it by people who are supposedly spiritual, they are spiritual. Why should I use the word spiritual? Sounds insulting. They are spiritual people. That's why they know. They know it. They came to know about it much sooner than I did. Okay, so these are the people who spoke about Vesica Pisces, and I thought, what it is? Is it like something really complicated? No, again, it is not. When two circles overlap, it forms this kind of a structure which looks like a fish. So Pisces there, Vesica because it's the gut portion of the fish. I don't want to talk about it. It makes my gut churn. So basically, when two circles that have, what does it denote? Duality. So it pretty much what happens when a zygote is formed. Two extreme quality stuff come together, they overlap, and that's how a zygote is formed. And then it all happens in a balloon like cell which grows, and there is millions of cells that disintegrate and then form. Initially it's two, but then there are millions of it. So that's just one example of it. So what does it denote? It denotes Vesica Pisces, denotes duality, two extreme things. Okay, that's called thesis, antithesis, synthesis. This is the synthesis portion. It can be Shiv Shakti. It can be like if you want to be a great businessman, what would you need? You would need Rajas, that is action and intuition. And the overlap portion will be your success quotient. Then there is when three circles I did not. Okay. Now is it visible? Yes, this is duality. This is three circles overlapping each other. What happens then? Then this is in spiritual language. You have it in, they call it Holy Trinity, heaven, earth, spirit. But then, what does three means? It's the first structure. Two dimensional is nothing. If you take two sticks, will they make a structure? They won't. They won't make a stable structure. You'll get a stable structure or some kind of a structure. The first structure is this one, the triad. Greater stability than this, these are four circles encircling. See, there are seeds also. When they they overlap, they form seeds, vortices. Vortices is congregation of energy at some point. And why does the energy congregate at one point? Because there is difference in pressure. We are not touching that concept now. Then there are the four thing the fourth anything four circles, four sticks. They denote structure, stability. Then you have five circles encircling each other. That's change, because even though it has achieved a certain stability, you feel a need of something else to give it a proper shape, structure, physical attribute. Then there is six seeds. You've seen what? Apples, and you may have seen oranges. They all have torus structure, and there are seeds that are like this, much more refined, because there the painter is the creator. I can never be at par. Then six. These are six circles encircling that are overlapping each other. What does six number denote to you? What does it mean? It means love. That's why you see six seeds in most fruits. It means nurture. It means service, love. And then finally, the number seven. Why is it so cool? I'll tell you more. But for now, that's the seed of life. There has to be overlapping of seven circles. Whether they are subtle energies, whether they represent subtle energies, or they represent something more concrete, that's something we'll talk about much later, because I'll make another video. That otherwise, if I had to make video that would encapsulate even sounds. That'll that would have stopped me from making any video at all. When I was doing my thesis, my mentor, my guide said, keep making things that you are uh, don't wait for perfection, because if you wait for perfection, things will just not happen, because you'll never feel as though you have touched perfection. Just keep making things, perfection will just keep creating things, perfection will come on its own. So all those people who are waiting for that eureka moment, sometimes when that eureka moment takes a very long time, just don't wait for it, just start doing things to the best of your ability. Perfection will follow. Fine. So this is seven circles encircling each other, making what? Making seed of life. That's how life comes into picture. Seven would mean completion. Kaam pura ho gaya. Work is finished. It has, you can call it a perfect thing. Even though eight number is refinement and nine number is uh, further refinement. In fact, it is the pinnacle. That is why 369, in even in Tesla's reference, it holds a lot of meaning. When it comes to music also, although the highest note is G10, but then people who can take their octaves to 7, they are also considered as though they have touched the pinnacle. So the this is what I wanted to talk about as far as 7 number is concerned. Now the mythology, because it was getting lonely for me to just keep on studying about cosmology and keep on going round and round about geometry and physics. It's not even looking why 5% as drab and lonely, uh, evoking loneliness now, but then it was while I was reading through things. All right, so there are another a few more examples of where I found 7 to be of, and of some surprise. It had a surprise effect to it because I didn't know about all these things. So you know that you don't have matter more than 7 orbits. That is the last orbit that you will find electrons on. You don't find more, you don't find any atoms of any element that have more than 7 orbits. There are 7 loka. Loka is what will be the word for loka? Hmm. Heaven. Heaven, the 7 loka. Stations, call it stations, you can see, yeah, stations. So there are 7 in, if you study Hindu scriptures, you'll find there are 7 loka. That is 7 heavens, 7 parts of netherworld, 7 parts of earthly plane. There are 7 of everything. This is brahmand. Brahm is cosmos, and means egg, cosmic egg. This is cosmic egg, and this most centrifugal force is biggest in the center, is highest in the center. So all galaxies, and system, solar system, constellation, call it whatever, they are all in the center and just below the event horizon, because now events have started taking place. Here it must be, let's say, two bad things: disintegration, highs, lot of energy things, and then planets have come into existence. So that's Brahmand. Okay. So there are, just like, no, I'll come to this at the last portion of this video. So there are 7 types of swarg, or heavens. The last one is like the visa center. Earth is the visa center, so if you behave well, you have this last opportunity to cross over to higher realm, and that's Earth for you. That is the highest portion of the earthly realm. Even earthly realm is divided into 7 portion. We live on Jambu Dweep, which is the uh, s- s- h- which is the highest part of the earthly plane. There are 6 more: Kusha Dweep and you will learn in the scriptures. And then, since we are the lower part of the lowest rung of the heavenly realm, you have so many of them. You have Swarg, then just above earthly plane, that's Bhuvalok is Bhuvar. Then you have uh, Swar. Then you have Meher. The many. You can read it on your own. So uh, depending on how much perfection we have achieved on chakras, we can we can feel some connection. Like it is said that if you have perfected your root chakra, your visa for Bhuvar Lok is fixed. If you're and if you haven't quite perfected, then you again go back to Bhuvalok. You'll stay at Bhuvalok. And then if your sacral chakra or Swadhisthana is perfected, it's expansion. Sacral chakra is not only whatever, is expansion. Expansion in the sense you take up a business and you expand. You take up knowledge, you expand it. So if your expansion is, and everything has to be done with a focus of service. If you are working day and night so that your bank balance becomes humongous, that's not going to work. Everything has to be done because this is the only plane, Bhuvalok, that's earthly plane where we can serve others. There's nothing else in this world. It can be quite a boring thing. Everything that seems to give us pleasure is actually entrapment. So the only and the best thing is serving others, helping others. So if your solar plexus is perfected, then Meher Lok, so on. Okay. And most of us do not know that we have seven chakras here also in the lower portion. And if they go wrong, that's when we go to netherworld. That's mythology for you, but not exactly. Because this chakra which is on our hips, that's called Atala chakra. It's like fear. Then this is mental confusion, retaliation. The last, then you have, there's so many of them. Talatal. This is Atala chakra, Vitala chakra, Sutala chakra. This is Rasatal, deceiving people. Last is Patal, murdering people. So when you can't control your lower chakras, you're completely playing in the hands of dark shadow energies. You have to completely perfect them. You have to establish your supremacy in all those chakras. And it is said that this is where Vishnu is taking his mystic sleep uh, at the lower portion of uh, of Brahmand, cosmic egg, and there is this axis from where Brahma has taken birth, the creator. That is too much mythology. I guess how I can summarize things is our Earth is a torus. It's not a sphere. It is torus in its shape, and then you have to know about seeds of life, that is overlapping of those of circles of life, and each circle represents a different aspects, and there's something magical and mystical only up to a point. We do not know the real thing because there is no mystery in the world. It's only mystery until we find things out. So there's something mystical because we do not know why there are no more orbits in any elements atom, not more than seven. Hmm? And there's so many sevens. They're everywhere. Sevens are everywhere, and when there are there, things are complete. So there are seeds of life, that is overlapping of seven aspects, subtle or physical or whatever. So when you reach seven, you've reached the perfection. All you need to do is to refine things. And this is the mythology bit. Perfect your our earthly plane is the visa center. If you perfect your chakras, that's how you will get placements. Don't let the lower chakras, Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Sarsatal, Patal, get any hold on you. And this is just a tidbit. This is the axis of Earth. This is earthly plane. This is axis, the 23 and a half one. And it points towards four major stars: Dhruv Tara. Dhruv is Polaris. Then you have Draconis, Demev, all those. In Hindi, we have Saptarishi, Dhruv Tara, and so on. So, yeah, I'll refine things. I started things, I got the ball rolling, I'll refine them. In the meantime, make create knowledge, expand what you have, think about things, and eventually there will be no mystery. Everything will get clear to us. Bye bye.